Near-death experiences have a way of changing a person's outlook on life and sometimes severely limit their victims' physical abilities. These accidents can occur during everyday activities or through the course of sports in which athletes engage. The transformative ability of near-death experience can sometimes give the victims clarity and perspective on their lives, but for others, it can be traumatic and personally devastating. One of the most volatile leagues in the world is the NFL. The kicks and the tackles sometimes spark series of unfortunate events. In this video, we've listed some NFL players who almost died on the field. We've kept the best for last, so watch until the end and find out who they are. Let's get it on. Number 1. DJ Hayden. A seemingly innocent collision during a full contact practice at the University of Houston almost ended the life of DJ Hayden. In 2012, Hayden collided with teammate Trevon Stewart as they both went up for an interception, and it left Hayden in terrible pain. 48-year-old trainer Mike "Doc" O'Shea sensed something was out of the ordinary and rushed Hayden to the locker room. As Hayden's condition deteriorated, O'Shea called an ambulance, and the EMTs rushed him to Memorial Hermann Texas Trauma Institute. As Dr. Ron Aberrando prepped Hayden for surgery, he expected an injury to the spleen or liver, but it was revealed to be much worse. Hayden's vena cava, the main artery bringing blood to his heart, had been almost completely torn, and he was bleeding internally. The injury had a mortality rate of 95%. Aberrando quickly sawed through Hayden's sternum and reattached the artery during the successful surgery. Hayden left the hospital 6 days later and lost nearly 30 pounds. During the recovery process, 4 months later, he ran a 4.3-second 40-yard dash at his pro day. He was drafted 12th overall in the NFL draft and now plays for the Oakland Raiders. Number 2. Alex Smith. Alex Smith suffered one of the most devastating injuries in the NFL history in 2018. He was sacked and his right leg buckled. He suffered a compound fracture with the bone piercing the skin. The ESPN story said that he had a spinal fracture, which starts at the ankle and spirals through the tibia to the knee. Smith needed screws and plates inserted. He almost died. In the days after his injury, Smith's fever spiked, and his leg turned black. Doctors had a hard time pinpointing the issue. He had sepsis. Skin and muscle tissue were removed. According to Elizabeth Smith's story, who was his wife, doctors said Smith had necrotizing fasciitis, a flesh-eating bacterium. Doctors fought to save Smith's leg and his life. He developed life-threatening sepsis and required 17 surgeries to prevent his leg from being amputated after the veteran NFL quarterback suffered a compound fracture of his tibia and fibula. However, the 36-year-old three-time Pro Bowler was cleared for football activity in August 2020, capping a remarkable recovery. It remains to be seen just what Smith's role will look like in Washington, where Ron Rivera is head coach and also has 2019 first-round draft pick Dwayne Haskins at his disposal. Smith's story and his path back to the field, regardless of the ultimate outcome, has been celebrated across the league. Number 3. Ricardo Lockett. In his first public appearance in 2016, former Seattle Seahawks wide receiver Ricardo Lockett opened up about the tackle that almost ended his life. Lockett took a dangerous hit that broke his neck, but made an amazing recovery and was given a second chance at life. The experience helped him reevaluate his priorities, like the importance of family, and reconnected him to his passions for helping others. He is proof that a single hit can change not only his life, but many. The 34-year-old Georgia-born athlete narrated the event by saying, "I hit the ground, and I heard the sound you never want to hear." When you have a brush with death, people always say you see the light. Well, I didn't see light. I heard a noise. You know the noise I'm talking about. Like when you were a little kid, bored at a family party, and you ran your finger around the top of your auntie's wine glass. It's that weird, far-off ringing sound. It was terrifying. I couldn't hear the crowd. I couldn't hear my teammates. That's when I knew it was bad. So you just lay there, trapped inside your own body while this world goes on around you. That's exactly what it felt like, except I wasn't in bed. I was at the 50-yard line of the Cowboys Stadium, surrounded by 90,000 fans. I said to myself, "Lord, just help me. I know that I'm here for a reason, and if you help me get off this ground, I'll change lives." In a touching closure, Lockett thanked those who were there for him, including the EMTs and the doctors who saved his life, and teammates such as Marshawn Lynch, who helped him heal through laughter. Number 4. Priest Holmes. Priest Holmes rushed for 1,000 yards and 7 touchdowns in 1998, making him a star for the Baltimore Ravens. He played for them for a few more years, but he was not the same running back. He went to the Kansas City Chiefs, and he gained a new life. He rushed for 3,000 yards, but then, banging into defensive players all those years caught up to him. He suffered a severe neck injury that he did come back from. He was never the same running back after that traumatic injury, as he never was in the right mental state after such a devastating injury. He started showing symptoms that occurred with the original injury. He was told that if he injured the neck again, he could become paralyzed for the rest of his life. He retired after that as the Chiefs' all-time leading rusher with 76 touchdowns. Number 5, Michael Irvin. The list of accolades of this Dallas receiver is crazy. 3-time Super Bowl champion, 5-time Pro Bowler, first-team All-Pro, and many more. But we can't help but think this long list could have been longer hadn't Irvin's career been cut short in 1999. While playing against the Eagles at Veterans Stadium in Philly, in the first quarter, Irvin was hit by cornerback Tim Hawk and went face-first down into the turf. The injury looked severe as he was carted off the field while the Eagles fans cheered. Irvin was diagnosed with a non-threatening spine injury, and that play would have been his last in the NFL, a sad ending to a Hall of Fame career. But he did achieve everything any NFL player could hope for. Number 6, Reggie Brown. Reggie Brown's injury was not only career-ending but almost life-ending. After being selected by the Detroit Lions 17th overall 1996 draft, Brown immediately saw playing time in a weak linebacking core. After only 26 games with the Lions, Brown suffered a horrible spinal cord contusion in the last week of the 1997 season. He was assisting on a tackle against the New York Jets running back, Adrian Murrell, when he went down in the Pontiac Silverdome. In the same game that teammate Barry Sanders passed the 2,000-yard rushing mark, Brown laid motionless on the field. Number 7, Darryl Stingley. No lie, this one is scary. Wide receiver Darryl Stingley, about to be one of the highest-paid players in the NFL, suffered a horrible spinal injury against the Oakland Raiders in a preseason game. While lunging for a pass, Stingley's helmet hit defensive back Jack Tatum's shoulder pad, in turn compressing his 4th and 5th cervical vertebrae, rendering him paralyzed. Stingley eventually regained limited movement in his arm, but spent the rest of his life as a quadriplegic. The hit has been used as an example of violence in the NFL. Even though it was completely legal at the time, this led to stricter rules for defenses and better disability benefits for retired players. Stingley died in 2007 due to complications with his paralysis, a sad ending to what could have been a Hall of Fame career.